Anne Frank was born on June 12, 1929, in Frankfurt, Germany. Her dad, Otto Frank, was born on May 12, 1889, in the same city. After studying economics at the University of Heidelberg, Otto served as a lieutenant in the German army during World War I. Anne's mom, Edith Hollander, came from Aachen, Germany. Edith's dad, Abraham, was a successful businessman, and Edith worked in his company after finishing school. Anne was the second child in the Frank family. Her older sister, Margot, was born 3 years earlier. The family lived in Marbachweg, Frankfurt, in a quiet neighborhood. Edith was happy that her kids could play outside and enjoy fresh air. The neighborhood was friendly, with families from different jobs living together peacefully. After some tough years, things seemed to be getting better in Germany. The economy was improving, and the angry talk against Jewish people had calmed down a bit. But in 1927, a man named Adolf Hitler started making hateful speeches. Even the Frank family's landlord, Otto Knitzer, shared these bad feelings in private. The family's money came from banking and a company that made health products from minerals. They often spent vacations in Bad Soden, a place known for its healing waters. Anne was a lively baby who cried a lot and had colic. Despite these challenges, 1929 started well for the Franks. But soon, the Wall Street crash of 1929 happened, and the world fell into a crisis. The family's business suffered greatly, and many people in Germany turned against the Jews, blaming them for their problems. Anne Frank's early years in Frankfurt were filled with both joy and challenges. Her family lived in a peaceful neighborhood called Marbachweg, where Anne and her sister Margot could play outside and enjoy the fresh air. Edith, their mother, was happy that her children had a safe and healthy environment to grow up in. The neighborhood was home to families from different backgrounds, and everyone got along well. However, things started to change as Anne grew older. In 1927, Adolf Hitler began making hateful speeches against Jewish people. Even the Frank family's landlord, Otto Knitzer, shared these bad feelings in private. The family's income came from banking and a company that made health products from minerals. They often spent their vacations in Bad Soden, a place known for its healing waters. Anne was a lively but challenging baby. She cried a lot and had colic, which kept her parents up at night. Despite these difficulties, the family was doing well until the Wall Street crash of 1929. This event plunged the world into a crisis, and the Frank family's business suffered greatly. Many people in Germany blamed the Jews for their problems, and the Frank family faced increasing hatred and discrimination. The Frank family decided to move to Amsterdam to escape the growing hatred and discrimination against Jews in Germany. Otto Frank saw that the situation was getting worse and wanted to keep his family safe. In 1933, he traveled to Amsterdam to prepare for the movie. He started a new business there, making fruit products. In December of that year, the family moved to Amsterdam and settled into a new apartment. They were close to Edith's family in Aachen, who often came to visit. Anne loved her Uncle Julius and was always happy to see him. At first, Anne found it hard to adjust to her new home. She missed her friends in Frankfurt and had to stay home with her mom while Margot went to school. But soon, Anne made new friends and started going to a Montessori school. She became close with a girl named Hannelie Goslar, who became her best friend. The family's new home was in a neighborhood with many other Jewish families, and they felt more at ease there. Life in Amsterdam brought new experiences and friendships for Anne. She attended a Montessori school where she loved the freedom and the chance to make her own decisions. Her teacher, Jan van Gelder, encouraged the children to learn in their own way. Anne quickly made friends with Hannelie Goslar and Suzanne Liederman, forming a close-knit group. The Frank family's home became a warm and hospitable place, with Edith encouraging Anne and Margot to bring friends over for dinner. Otto Frank was a favorite among the neighborhood children, known for his laughter, stories, and the time he spent with his daughters. Despite the language barrier, Anne and her family began to feel more at home in Amsterdam. However, the political climate was changing. By 1938, tensions between Germany and the Jewish community had reached a new height, leading to the Kristallnacht, where Jewish homes and businesses were destroyed. The Frank family tried to shield Anne and Margot from the growing dangers, but the threat of war loomed closer. As the years passed, the situation in Germany worsened, and the Frank family felt the impact of rising anti-Semitism. The Nazi Party gained more power, and laws were passed that made life harder for Jewish people. In 1938, the Kristallnacht, or Night of Broken Glass, saw Jewish homes and businesses attacked and destroyed. The Frank family knew they had to take action to protect themselves. Otto Frank began making plans to go into hiding. He prepared a secret annex above his office building, stocking it with supplies and making sure it was hidden from view. The family had to be very careful and keep their plans a secret from everyone except a few trusted friends. They knew that if they were caught, the consequences would be severe. The decision to go into hiding was difficult, but the family understood it was necessary for their safety. They hoped that by staying hidden, they could avoid the dangers that many other Jewish families were facing. On July 6, 1942, the Frank family went into hiding in the secret annex. Their daily routine was filled with challenges and fears. They had to stay quiet during the day to avoid being heard by the workers below. Anne, Margot, and their parents had to adjust to living in a small, cramped space with limited resources. Anne wrote in her diary about the struggles and emotions she experienced. She described feeling lonely and trapped, but also found comfort in writing and expressing her thoughts. The family had to rely on the help of a few trusted friends, like Miep Geis and Johannes Kleeman, who brought them food and supplies. Despite the hardships, the family tried to maintain a sense of normalcy. They celebrated birthdays and holidays, and Anne continued her education by studying and reading books. The annex became their world, and they hoped that one day they would be free again. Anne's diary entries during this time provided deep insight into her emotional struggles and her hopes for the future. On August 4, 1944, the Frank family's hiding place was discovered. The Gestapo, along with Dutch police, raided the secret annex and arrested the family. They were taken to the Gestapo headquarters in Amsterdam and then sent to the Westerbork transit camp. The conditions at Westerbork were harsh, but the family tried to stay hopeful. They were later deported to Auschwitz, a concentration camp in Poland. The journey was long and difficult, and the family faced even more challenges and fears. Despite the hardships, they held on to the hope that they would survive and be reunited. The capture and deportation marked a turning point in their lives, as they were now at the mercy of the Nazi regime. Life in Auschwitz was brutal and terrifying. The family was separated, with men and women sent to different parts of the camp. Anne and Margot were forced to work long hours in harsh conditions. They faced constant hunger, cold, and the threat of violence. Despite the horrors, Anne tried to stay positive and support her sister. In late October 1944, Anne and Margot were transferred to the Bergen-Belsen concentration camp. Conditions there were even worse, with disease and starvation rampant. Anne and Margot struggled to survive, but their health declined rapidly. In early 1945, both sisters died from typhus, just weeks before the camp was liberated by British troops. Their deaths marked the tragic end of their young lives, cut short by the cruelty of the Nazi regime. After the war, Anne's diary was found and published. It became a worldwide sensation, translated into many languages and read by millions. Anne's words provided a unique and powerful insight into the experiences of Jews during the Holocaust. Her diary has become a symbol of hope and resilience, inspiring people around the world. Anne Frank's legacy continues to educate and remind us of the horrors of the Holocaust and the importance of standing against hatred and discrimination. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to subscribe to Whimsy Stories, give it a like, and share it with your friends.